At my birthday party, my wife announced new rules for him starting today. Her friends clapped. Then I made my own announcement about the end of our marriage, and every woman at the table started apologizing to me. I pulled into the parking lot of our apartment complex around 8:30 in the evening, as always. 43 years old today, another year older, another day at the distribution warehouse behind me. I was not expecting much, but when I opened the front door, I knew immediately that it would not be a quiet evening. The living room was full of women, 7, maybe 8, all sitting around our dining table with glasses of wine and those forced smiles that do not reach the eyes. I recognized most of them, Melissa's friends from her yoga studio and that networking group she joined last year. Hi, I said, putting down my keys. I did not know we were having company tonight. Melissa stood up, smoothing her dress, the expensive one I had seen on the credit card statement last month. $200 for a birthday dinner at home. Surprise, she said, but her tone was not festive. It was sharp, theatrical. We are hosting a little gathering for your birthday. The women at the table exchanged looks. A few chuckled. I went to the kitchen. I grabbed a Coors Light from the fridge. Not my first choice, but it was cold. When I came back, they were all looking at me. Then Melissa said louder now to make sure everyone heard. I've been thinking a lot lately about our marriage, about how things need to change. I took a sip of beer. I did not say anything. I just watched. Starting today, we are putting new rules in place. She pulled out her phone. She even had written notes. First, you need to start asking for permission before making plans with your friends. I need to know where you are and with whom. One of her friends nodded enthusiastically. Boundaries are so important. Second, Melissa continued, you need to do more around the house. I should not have to ask you to clean or do the laundry. You should just know. I almost laughed. I worked 50 hours a week at the distribution center. She worked 25 hours at a boutique part-time with a flexible schedule. But of course, I was the one not doing my part. And third, she said, pausing for effect, you need to contribute more financially. I am tired of feeling like I am carrying this household all by myself. That one got to me. I put the beer on the coffee table. Contribute more financially? I repeated. Yes, we need to be equal partners. The friends were all nodding now. One of them, Kelsey, I think her name was even, started clapping. Then another joined in. Within seconds, they were all clapping as if Melissa had just delivered an inspiring speech. My husband needed this talk too, one of them said. Men do not understand unless you are direct. Exactly, added another. They need structure, rules, otherwise they do whatever they want. I looked at every face around that table. I studied them, the satisfied expressions, the superiority, the absolute certainty that they were right and I was wrong. Melissa beamed, feeding off their validation. So she said, crossing her arms, what do you think? Can you handle these new expectations? I took another sip, a longer one this time. Then I put the bottle down and smiled. I think, I said slowly, that I have an announcement to make too. The room grew quieter. Melissa's smile faltered slightly, but first I continued, standing up. I need to grab some documents from my office. Give me 5 minutes. I walked down the hallway, hearing the confused whispers. Behind me, someone asked Melissa what I was talking about. She said she had no idea, but her voice had lost some of that confidence. In my office, I opened the filing cabinet, third drawer down. The folder was exactly where I had left it 3 days earlier when I had finally finished putting everything together. Bank statements, credit card bills, screenshots, receipts, all organized, chronological, irrefutable. I had been waiting for the right moment. I did not think it would be tonight, but Melissa had made her choice. She wanted to humiliate me in front of her friends, turn my birthday into some sort of power display. Very well, I could accommodate that. I grabbed the folder and returned to the living room. All eyes turned to me as I sat on the couch, the folder on my lap. All right, I said, looking directly at Melissa. Speaking of rules, contribution and equality, I think everyone here deserves to know the truth. Melissa's face paled. What are you doing? She asked. I opened the folder. I am just making my announcement, I said. As promised, the room was completely silent. Now, no more chuckling, no more knowing looks, just attention. And the truth was going to make things very uncomfortable for everyone at this table. I pulled the first document from the folder, a bank statement from our joint account for 3 months, highlighted in yellow where it mattered. So Melissa mentioned that I need to contribute more financially. I said, looking around the table, let us break that down for everyone here. I held up the first statement. This is September. My paycheck, $2,100 after taxes, deposited on the 15th. Her paycheck, $740, deposited on the 20th. Melissa stood up. Stop, this is private. You made it public when you announced your rules. In front of your friends, I said, calmly, sit down. She did not, but she did not leave either. I continued, the rent for this place is $1,300 a month. I pay it every month. It comes out of my account. I pulled out another statement. Utilities average $200. I pay that too. Car insurance for both vehicles, $180. Me again. Kelsey, the one who had clapped first, was now staring at her wine glass, not so enthusiastic anymore. Groceries. I continued pulling out credit card statements. I do the grocery shopping every Sunday, $150 to $200 a week. That is my card. I spread the receipts on the coffee table. And before anyone asks, yes, I cook most of the dinners too, Monday through Thursday, at least because I get home first. This is humiliating, Melissa said, her voice trembling. On your birthday, you are doing this. Oh, we're just getting started. I replied. October statement. My check, same amount. Your check, $740. But look at this. I pointed to a specific line. $470 at Nordstrom, $320 at that downtown boutique, $215 at the spa. One of the friends, Brooke, I think, shifted uncomfortably in her chair. I work hard for my money, Melissa said. Defensively, I deserve to treat myself. Absolutely. I agreed. With your money, not mine. But that is not even the interesting part. I took out my phone, opened the folder of screenshots. You see, about 4 months ago, I noticed you were going out a lot. Tuesday lunches, Thursday afternoon coffees. You said it was networking to build your professional connections. Melissa's face went from pale to ashen. Networking is important. One of her friends offered weekly. It is. I nodded, except these were not networking meetings. I held up my phone, showing the first screenshot. Text messages between Melissa and someone named Jason. Do you want to tell them who Jason is, or should I? You snooped through my phone, she yelled. That is a violation of my privacy. Your phone was open on the kitchen counter. I said, you got a message while you were in the shower. It popped up on the screen. I did not have to snoop for anything. It was right there. The message on the screen read, cannot wait to see you Thursday, same place. Jason Mitchell, I said to the room. He used to work with Melissa at her old job. They have been meeting regularly for 4 months. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, sometimes Saturdays when I work overtime. We are just friends. Melissa insisted, but her voice cracked. Friends, I repeated. Let me show you the receipts then. I laid them out one by one. Lunch at the bistro, $85. Lunch at Copper Table, $92. Drinks at Harvest Bar. I looked up at her. All charged to the credit card that I pay off every month. You are using my money to treat your friend Jason to wine and dinners. The silence in the room was suffocating. One of the friends had her hand over her mouth. Another was staring at Melissa as if she had never seen her before. It is not what you think, Melissa said, tears forming now. We never did anything. We just talked. About what? I asked. Because, according to these messages, you spend a lot of time complaining about me. Look at this one. I read from my phone. He is so controlling with money. He acts like I am not allowed to spend anything. Or this one. I continued. Sometimes I wonder why I even married him. He does not understand me at all. Or my favorite, I said, scrolling. Jason understands me in a way he never could. Kelsey was picking up her purse. I think I should leave. No, stay, I said. You are so enthusiastic about Melissa's new rules 10 minutes ago. I want you to hear the rest. She froze, caught between leaving and staying. I found out about Jason 3 months ago. I explained. At first, I was angry. I thought about confronting both of them, making a scene, but then I realized something. It was not about Jason. It was a pattern. I pulled out printed screenshots from social media, from group chats. Melissa has a habit of telling stories, her version of facts. To all of you, I am the bad guy, the controlling husband who does not appreciate her, who does not support her dreams, who does not contribute enough. I looked around the table, but none of you knew that I pay almost all of our bills. None of you knew that she barely works part-time by choice, not by necessity. None of you knew that she was having secret meetings with a former coworker with my money, using my work schedule against me. Brooke spoke softly. She told us you were always criticizing her spending. I asked her once why she needed a $200 dress when we had a car payment due. I said, that became me being controlling. I suggested we should both contribute equally to groceries. That became me being cheap. That is really unfair, muttered another friend. Melissa was crying now, mascara running. You do not understand the pressure I am under, trying to build a career, trying to maintain friendships, trying to be a good wife. A good wife, I repeated slowly. Let me tell you about being a good spouse. I pulled out the last document, the one I had saved. This, I said, holding it up, is a consultation summary from a family law attorney. I met with him last week. Discussed asset division, the timeline, the process. The room went completely still. What? Whispered Melissa. My announcement, I said, looking directly at her. The one I wanted to make tonight. You wanted new rules for our marriage. Here's mine. There will be no more marriage. You cannot be serious, she said. The papers will be filed Friday morning, I continued. You will be served by a process server by Monday. This apartment is in my name. My uncle's inheritance money helped with the security deposit and initial move-in costs. You need to find another place to stay within 30 days. One of the friends stood up abruptly. I am sorry. So sorry. We did not know. She never told us any of this. Another joined her. Yeah, this is really unfair. I feel awful for how we treated you tonight. Melissa looked at them desperately. Wait, you're leaving? You were supposed to be my friends. You lied to us, Kelsey said quietly. Worse, we thought we were supporting you through a difficult marriage, but you were just using us to validate treating him like garbage. Brooke walked over to me. I went through something similar with my ex-husband. He did the exact same thing, twisted every story to make me look like the bad guy. I am really sorry we bought into it. One by one, her friends got up, grabbing their coats and purses. Each apologized, some more sincerely than others. Within 5 minutes, the apartment was empty, except for me and Melissa. She stood there, surrounded by wine glasses and the ruins of her performance, crying. You humiliated me, she said. No, I corrected. You humiliated yourself. I only told the truth. We can fix this, she begged. Couples therapy, counseling, whatever you want. I closed the folder and stood up. I do not want to fix it. I want it to end. I went into the spare bedroom, the one I had secretly prepared the week before. My clothes were already in the closet, toiletries in the bathroom. I was ready for this conversation. I just had not expected it to happen at a birthday party. Happy birthday to me, I muttered as I closed the door behind me. Through the wall, I could hear Melissa crying. I felt nothing. The next morning I woke up to 17 missed calls and 34 text messages, all from Melissa. I did not read them. I did not need to. I knew exactly what they would say. Apologies mixed with accusations, promises mixed with threats, the usual cycle. I got dressed, made coffee, and left for work, just like any other Friday. At the warehouse nobody knew what had happened. That was fine. I was not looking for sympathy or advice. I just wanted to do my job and go home. Around lunchtime, my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it vibrated again. Same number. The third time I answered. Is this regarding the Bradley residence? A woman's voice asked. Depends who is asking. This is Erin from Oakwood Property Management. Your wife called this morning asking to break the lease early. I am calling to confirm. Are both of you planning to vacate the premises? I almost laughed. No, Erin. The lease is in my name only. She does not have the authority to break it. Silence on the other end. Then, oh, she said it was a joint lease. She says a lot of things. I replied, check your records. My name, my signature, my deposit. She is not on any paperwork. Understood. Thank you for clarifying. I hung up and sent a message to my lawyer. She is already trying to mess with the apartment. You should probably send that letter today rather than Monday. He replied within minutes. Expediting it. Should be delivered tomorrow. When I got home that evening, Melissa was sitting on the couch, laptop open, tissues scattered around her. She looked up when I walked in. We need to talk, she said. No, we do not. Please. Just 5 minutes. I put down my keys, grabbed a water from the fridge. You have 3 minutes. She closed the laptop. I called a marriage counselor, Dr. Sheffield. She has great reviews. She can see us next Wednesday. Not interested. You are not even going to try? Her voice broke. After 7 years, you are not even going to try to save this? 7 years, I repeated. Do you know what I did for 7 years? Worked hard while you figured out your career, supported your boutique job that pays minimum wage because you said it made you happy, covered the rent, the bills, the groceries, everything because you needed time to find yourself. I took a sip of water. And what did you do? Complain to your friends that I was controlling, have secret meetings with Jason behind my back, spend money we did not have, and then have the nerve to announce rules for me at my own birthday party. I made mistakes, she admitted, but you're not perfect either. You shut me out emotionally. You never want to talk about feelings because every time I brought up something that bothered me, you turned it into an argument saying I was attacking you. I mentioned the credit card bill once and you did not talk to me for 3 days. She looked away. That is not just 3 days of the silent treatment because I asked about a $400 charge. You want to talk about emotional manipulation? Start there. My phone vibrated. Text from Brooke, one of Melissa's friends from the night before. Hi, I know this is weird, but I wanted to reach out. What happened last night is bothering me. Can we talk sometime? I showed the screen to Melissa. Your friend wants to talk to me. Her face turned red. Do not you dare. Dare. What? Have a conversation? You do not control who I talk to anymore. She is my friend. Was your friend? I corrected. I am pretty sure that changed when she realized you had been lying to her for months. Melissa stood up, starting to pace. This is insane. You are blowing up our whole life. Why? A few text messages, a few lunches. You think this is about Jason? I shook my head. It is about respect. You do not respect me. You have not for a long time. Maybe you never did. That is not true. Then, why did you feel the need to humiliate me in front of your friends? I asked. Why announce your new rules publicly instead of having a private conversation? Because you wanted them to see you put me in my place. You wanted validation. You wanted to feel powerful. She did not answer. She could not. The papers will be delivered tomorrow. I said. My lawyer moved up the timeline. You will have 30 days to find another place to stay. I am not throwing you out on the street, but I am not living like this anymore either. Where am I supposed to go? Not my problem. You have friends, family. Figured out. She grabbed her phone. I am calling my mother. Good idea. Maybe she can explain to you why lying to your spouse and spending his money on secret meetings is a bad idea. Melissa stormed off into the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I could hear her voice rising, talking to her mother, crying. probably painting me as the villain. Again, my phone vibrated again. This time, Kelsey, I owe you an apology. A real one. Can I buy you a coffee? Tomorrow, I want to explain why we were so quick to believe her side of things. I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to ignore it, cut ties with everyone connected to Melissa, but another part was curious. Why had they been so ready to applaud Melissa's little performance? I replied, tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning, corner. Brew on 5th. Thanks. See you tomorrow. The bedroom door opened. Melissa walked out, phone still in hand, eyes puffy. My mom wants to talk to you. Say hello. She wants to help us get through this. I laughed. Really? Laughed. Your mother, who thinks I am not good enough for you, who told you at our wedding that you were settling, wants to help mediate our divorce? Pass. Did you hear that? I was 10 feet away. She was not exactly whispering. Melissa's face fell. I defended you after she said that. I pointed out. You did not shut it down. Immediately, you waited to see if anyone else agreed first. She sat back on the couch, defeated. I do not know what to do. Start looking for apartments? I suggested. You have 30 days. I cannot afford rent on my own. You should have thought about that before implementing your new rules. She looked at me with something between anger and despair. Are you enjoying this? No, I said, honestly. I am not enjoying it, but I am not losing sleep over it either. This marriage was over a long time ago. We were just pretending it was not. My phone rang. Unknown number again. I answered. Hello, is this about Jason and Melissa? A male voice asked. I stepped out onto the balcony, closing the sliding door behind me. Who is this? Jason Mitchell. Listen, I do not want any trouble. Melissa called me crying. She said you found out about our lunches. Your lunches? I repeated flatly. Nothing happened, he said quickly. We are just friends. I am married. I have 2 kids. It was innocent. Does your wife know about your innocent lunches? Silence. That is what I thought. I said, here's the thing. Jason, I do not care if you crossed the line or not. What I care about is that my wife was spending my money to meet you while lying to me about where she was. That is enough. Man, I am sorry. I did not know the situation. She acted like you guys were practically separated. We were not, but we are now. Listen, I am going to stop talking to her. Cut contact completely. I do not need this drama in my life. Smart move, I said, and hung up. Through the glass, I could see Melissa watching me from the couch. When I went back inside, she asked, was that him? Yeah. What did he say? That he is done. You are on your own. She looked like she had been slapped. He said that? Basically, turns out when things get complicated, people disappear. She put her face in her hands. Everything is falling apart, is not it? No, I corrected. Everything fell apart months ago. You're just noticing it now. I grabbed my laptop and sat at the kitchen table. I started looking for apartments online, looking for something smaller, cheaper. I could downsize, save money, start fresh. Melissa watched me from the couch. You are really doing this? I really am. And therapy and try? I tried. For years, I said without looking up. Your turn to try something new, like honesty, like accountability, like being single. She did not reply. She just sat there, surrounded by her tissues and her tears and the consequences of her choices. My phone vibrated one last time. Brooke again. Kelsey told me you are meeting her tomorrow. Can I come too? I think we owe you more than just an apology. I thought about it for a moment, then replied, sure. 11 o'clock at Corner Brew. This was not how I expected my 43rd birthday week to go, but sitting there looking for an apartment, divorce papers in the works, Melissa finally quiet on the couch. I felt something I had not felt in years. Peace, not happiness, not yet, but peace. And that was enough for now. Saturday morning, I walked into Corner Brew 10 minutes early. I ordered a black coffee, found a table near the window. The place smelled like fresh pastries and espresso. The Saturday morning crowd was coming in for their caffeine fix. Kelsey arrived first, looking nervous. She was carrying a folder which seemed odd for an apology over coffee. Thanks for meeting me, she said, sitting down. I was not sure you would actually come. I am curious, I admitted. Why the sudden change of heart? She opened her folder. Before answering, inside were printed screenshots, text messages. Because after going home Thursday night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about what Melissa told us versus what you showed us. So I looked through my phone. She slid the first screenshot across the table. This is from 6 months ago. Melissa texting us in the group chat about how you refused to let her buy a new couch. I read it. According to the message, I had apparently thrown a fit because she wanted to redecorate, calling her wasteful, saying the furniture was fine. What is the real story? Kelsey asked. We needed new tires for a car, I said. The inspection was due. I suggested waiting a month for the couch until the next paycheck. She agreed at the time. Then apparently she went and told all of you that I was controlling. Kelsey nodded slowly. That is what I figured. Brooke walked in, then saw us at the table, order her coffee, and joined us. Morning, I replied. Kelsey showed the screenshots to Brooke. I was just showing him how Melissa framed things. Brooke pulled out her own phone. Yeah, I looked through old messages too. It is bad. Like, everything she told us was twisted. She showed me another text thread. This one about how I had supposedly ruined her birthday last year by refusing to take her out to dinner. I worked a double shift that day because a coworker's kid was in the hospital. I explained. I came home exhausted at midnight. We celebrated the following weekend. We went to that Italian place downtown, the expensive one. It cost me $160. She never mentioned any of that, Brooke said softly, just that you had forgotten her birthday. Kelsey leaned back in her chair. It is really unfair. We were enablers. We thought we were supporting a friend in a difficult marriage, but we were just helping her justify treating you like crap. Why? Why were you all so quick to believe her side? Brooke and Kelsey exchanged a look. Brooke spoke first. Because some of us have been in bad relationships, she said. My ex-husband was truly controlling, monitoring my phone, questioning every purchase, isolating me from my friends. When I finally left him, a therapist told me about financial abuse, emotional manipulation, all of that. So when Melissa talked about you questioning her spending, Kelsey continued. It sounded familiar, like warning signs we have been taught to recognize. Except I was not questioning her spending, I said. I was asking her to contribute. There is a difference. We know that now, Brooke admitted. But in the moment, hearing her version, it fit a pattern we recognized or thought we recognized. Kelsey pulled out another screenshot. This is from 3 months ago. She told us you had started working overtime to avoid home with her. I almost laughed. I work overtime because the distribution center pays time and a half on weekends. I was saving up for a down payment on a house, a bigger place, since she kept saying the apartment was too small. Did she know? Kelsey asked. I told her every time I picked up an extra shift. I even showed her the savings account balance once. She said it was not enough, that we needed more before even thinking about buy. Brooke shook her head. She told us you were hoarding money, keeping her on a tight budget, while you spent freely. I do not spend freely, I said. I buy the groceries, pay the bills, and put everything else in savings. My last personal purchase was a pair of work boots 3 months ago. $42 at the outlet mall. The barista called someone's name. We all sat in silence for a moment as a student, grabbed their drink, and left. I have to ask something, Kelsey said carefully. The situation with Jason, do you think they actually crossed the line? Honestly, I do not know, I admitted. Maybe they did, maybe they did not. But here is what I know. She was meeting him regularly, lying about where she was spending the money I earned on expensive lunches, and texting him about how I did not understand her. That is emotional betrayal at the very least, Brooke said. At the very least, I agreed. And even if nothing else happened, the disrespect was enough. She chose to confide in him instead of talking to me. She chose to trash me to all of you instead of addressing issues directly. She chose to humiliate me at my own birthday party instead of having a private conversation. Kelsey closed her folder. For what it is worth, I am truly sorry. We should have questioned more. We should have asked for your side. Most people do not, I said. They hear one version of a story from someone they trust and they accept it. It is human nature. It does not make it right. Brooke added. She hesitated, then asked, what happens now with the divorce? The papers were served this morning, I said. She has 30 days to move out. We will divide the few common possessions we have, which is not much. The apartment is mine. The savings account is mine. She can take the furniture she bought with her credit cards. Where will she go? To her mother's, probably. Or maybe she will move in with one of her other friends. I looked at them pointedly, assuming she has any left after Thursday night. Brooke grimaced. Most of the group chat has gone quiet. Nobody knows what to say. A few people defended her, at first saying you were cruel, but then others started sharing their own stories about things she had said that did not add up. Like what? Like how she told someone you refused to let her go back to school, Kelsey said. But you had mentioned to me once that you offered to pay for classes if she wanted to finish her degree. I did offer, I confirmed. She said she would think about it. Never brought it up again. Then it became another example of me being unsupportive. My phone vibrated. Text from my lawyer. Papers delivered. She refused to sign initially, but the process server left them anyway. Legal protocol followed. I showed them the message. She's going to fight this, is not she? Brooke asked. Probably, but there is not much to fight over. No kids, no shared property beyond some furniture, no significant assets. It will be quick and clean, unless she tries to claim you owe her support. Kelsey suggested. Spousal support, alimony, whatever. She can try, I said. But I have documentation showing she chose to work part-time. I have proof I offered to support her going back to school. I have texts where she turned down full-time job offers because the hours were not convenient. Brooke pulled something up on her phone, showed it to Kelsey. They both looked uncomfortable. What? I asked. Melissa just posted on social media, Brooke said, turning the phone so I could see. The post was vague, but pointed. When you give someone everything and they throw it away over a mistake. Feeling devastated. The comments were already rolling in. Friends asking if she was okay, offering support, saying whoever hurt her did not deserve her. She does not mention your name, Kelsey noted, but anyone who knows. You both will know who she is talking about. Let her, I said. I'm not getting into a social media war. The people who matter know the truth. Everyone else can think what they want. You are not going to defend yourself? Brooke asked. Why would I? The kind of people who judge based on vague social media posts are not people whose opinions matter to me. Kelsey smiled slightly. That is probably the healthiest attitude I have heard in a while. We talked for another 20 minutes. They shared more examples of how Melissa had twisted situations, painting herself as the victim, positioning me as the antagonist in a story she had been writing for years. When we finally stood up to leave, Brooke touched my arm gently. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Do you feel guilty at all? I thought about it. Honestly, no. I feel relieved. I feel like I had been carrying a weight for 7 years and I finally put it down. Good, she said, because you should not feel guilty. You tried. You more than tried. Kelsey paid for her coffee and left. First, Brooke lingered. My ex-husband, she said quietly, the controlling one I mentioned. After I left him, it took me 2 years to trust anyone again. 2 years to believe that not all relationships would be like that. What finally made you trust again? I asked. Meeting someone who respected me, she said. Simply, someone who listened to, compromised, who treated me like an equal partner and realized that my ex's behavior was not normal, was not acceptable, was not something I should endure. I hope you find that too, she added. Someone who appreciates what you bring. Thank you, I said. She smiled and left. I sat back down, finished my coffee, and watched the people walking by outside. Couples holding hands, friends laughing, dogs pulling their Owners down the sidewalk. My phone vibrated again. Unknown number for A. Second, I thought it might be Melissa. It was not. Just a spam call. I blocked it and walked home. The apartment was quiet again, but this time the silence felt right. Not empty, just calm. I grabbed the last beer in the fridge, sat on my couch and smiled. 43 years old. Divorced, starting over, and happier than I had been in years. Melissa wanted new rules for our marriage. Instead, she gave me something better, freedom, and I was not going to trade that for anything. Comment. I know this story can hit hard, especially the part about having your kindness mistaken for weakness. It is a powerful reminder that your self-respect is not up for negotiation. Setting boundaries is not about controlling someone else. It is about protecting your own peace. We cannot control the narrative others create, but we are always responsible for the truth we live by. True kindness must include being kind to yourself, and sometimes that means making the incredibly difficult decision to walk away. Healing does not always begin with a grand event. It often starts with the quiet realization that you simply deserve better. You always have the power to choose calm over chaos, even when someone is trying to pull you into their storm. This was never about winning an argument, but about reclaiming a life. I hope you remember that your peace is always worth protecting, and you are worthy of relationships built on mutual respect. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.